Welcome to Nerd Word, where I talk about nerdy things using words. Today we are going to talk about deductive reasoning and how it can help us with the question of God. So first, what is deductive reasoning? It's pretty straightforward at its core. You start with two or more premises and use those to form a conclusion. Let's look at an example. Fido is a dog. All dogs have a tail. Therefore, Fido has a tail. Simple, right? But there are two ways we can mess up. The first is if we have a false or invalid premise. Fido is a dog. All dogs love to swim. Fido loves to swim. Logic is okay in this one, but the premise is wrong. While many dogs love to swim, it is not a universal quality among man's best friend. If you don't believe me, throw your dachshund into the deep end of the pool. You won't be his best friend for long. Another way we can go wrong is by breaking logical procedure. Fido has a tail. All dogs have tails. Therefore, Fido is a dog. Lots of animals have tails. Fido could be a cat. Although, if you named your cat Fido, you probably have bigger issues than we have time for today. So let's look at a logical argument that addresses the question of God. If God is omnipotent, omnibenevolent, and omniscient, there would not be evil. Evil does exist. Therefore, there is no God who is omnipotent, omnibenevolent, and omniscient. This is called the problem of evil, and I'm sure you've heard variations on this before. The logical procedure here is correct, but I suggest that the first premise is invalid. Omniscient means that God is unconstrained by ignorance. Omnipotent means that God is unconstrained by weakness. You might see a pattern forming here. The final qualification is omnibenevolent, which means that God is constrained to be good. Whoa, we just took a sharp left-hand turn there. If God is omnipotent, meaning he can do anything, but is constrained to be good, meaning he can't do something that is not good, then we find that our premise conflicts with itself. If, on the other hand, it's being suggested that God chooses not to do some things because they are not good, that is God, by choice, limiting his omnipotence. That ties in nicely with the Christian narrative of the divine Jesus becoming fully man as a sacrifice. Leibniz suggested that God allows evil in order to achieve a greater good, like the father that allows his child to fall so that the child can learn to stand up again. God may allow evil because it teaches us and gives us the opportunity to become better. At some fundamental level, we all understand that heroes are born of adversity, that without evil, the hero would not exist. Leibniz, of course, was the guy who discovered calculus, so we generally consider him a pretty smart fellow, regardless of that poodle on his head. It was the 17th century, so we have to let this guy slide a little on style. All of this is fine, and there are lots of arguments on both sides, but I think we've discovered something rather important. What is good? If we consider Leibniz's concept of greater good, we have something that is not black and white, but rather a scale. Let's try this on for size. Some things are morally preferable to others. Individual humans disagree on what is morally preferable. Therefore, there must be some authority on morality which supersedes that of the individual human. It's a small step to replace individual humans with society, culture, or government. To me, this seems to suggest supernatural authority. This suggests God. Proverbs 14:12 says, "There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way to death." The logical arguments here are not perfect. I rely on the premise of absolute morality, which is itself a hotly debated topic. Maybe we'll take a look at that someday. But for now, logic leads me to believe that there is a God, an authority on morality. He is a sacrificing God who lays down his omnipotence in order to offer us choice, and he lays down his divinity, his life, to offer us redemption when we choose poorly. Thanks for tuning in.